If you're moving to the St. Louis area and focusing on some of the more rural kind of country parts of town, and you're looking at St. Paul, great choice. It is a beautiful part of the St. Louis metro. So today we're talking about what it looks like, what it has to offer, and of course, showing the usual footage of what it looks like since you might be struggling to find any good information on it. Google Maps doesn't really show it very well. So we're talking about living in St. Paul today. Hey there, welcome to the channel, or welcome back. My name is Jacob Peistrup. So St. Paul is one of the smaller parts of town out in St. Charles County. Not a super well-known area just because it's a big area, but there's not a ton out there just because you have a lot of these country estates, big pieces of land, not a ton of people who live out there, so it is much more rural, feels much more country than a place like O'Fallon or Wentzville, one of those bigger, suburban areas with a lot of these big neighborhoods and a lot of people out there. St. Paul is just kind of this quieter, more rural part of town. By the way, if you're moving to St. Paul or somewhere else in that area, my team and I are licensed realtors in Missouri. If you want to work together, send us an email or send us a text, whatever works for you. Let's get in touch, let's answer your questions, and go look at some houses. So St. Paul definitely does have some beautiful homes. Again, very rural. You will see some of these beautiful custom homes and these custom country estates out there on these big pieces of land or out in the woods, very secluded, very private. So if you're someone who really wants your space from your neighbors, have a big backyard for the kids, the dogs, the whole family, you'll find that a lot easier in St. Paul compared to one of the bigger, more suburban areas like Lake St. Louis and O'Fallon. So it's very similar to Josephville. Really the only differences between Josephville and St. Paul is a much bigger area on the map, and there's a few hundred people more that live in St. Paul. So Josephville's got around 300 people who live there, and St. Paul is more like 1,200 to 1,300 people. So probably about 1,000 people more who live in St. Paul. But I mean, compared to an area like Wentzville, where you got 40,000 people, or O'Fallon, 90,000 people who live there, St. Paul is much smaller, much more rural, and just not a ton of stuff going on outside of the houses and the residential real estate you'll see. And here's the thing too, St. Paul does have a lot of farmland, a lot of agricultural use land, but you've also got some industrial space, some warehouses, a little bit of manufacturing depending on where you go. And just like Josephville, you are right above a bunch of industrial space in the north of O'Fallon. So GM, huge assembly plant right there, Amazon, big warehouse right there, and a bunch of these smaller companies and facilities. So a lot of industrial space right in that area for anyone who works in one of those fields, whatever you do, whether it's tech, manufacturing, management. You're also right next to the hospitals in Lake St. Louis. So for anyone working in healthcare, again, you're pretty close to all that in St. Paul. So you're actually not a very far drive to get to all those places, like maybe 10, 15 minutes outside of St. Paul. St. Paul is just gonna feel very different from Lake St. Louis. So St. Paul feels way more country, way more driving through the country roads to get there. You're not gonna have a highway going through St. Paul. So you're gonna have to drive down south to I-70 to get anywhere for the most part. Again, it's not that far. It's like 10, 15 minutes. You just don't have any major highways going through St. Paul. So if you're gonna go into downtown St. Louis, just like Josephville, it's gonna be around 45 minutes to an hour to get there if you're going out for a cards game, blues game, watching a concert, whatever it is. Downtown is about 35 miles away. So just keep that in mind. I know the rural lifestyle isn't for everyone. For some people, it absolutely is, but same for that ultra urban lifestyle. It's just not everyone's style. So if you like that country feel, St. Paul is gonna be it. So you're gonna have a lot of houses out here on well water and septic tanks. Just because it is going to be that kind of area, you are further outside the city, not as much access to the infrastructure and utilities. So bunch of places out here that is very common. You're going to be on well and septic more than likely if you live in St. Paul. And St. Paul has some beautiful neighborhoods, a lot of these custom built country estates. sit on huge pieces of land, and there's not a ton of sales that happen here just because it is a smaller market. But really, the median in St. Paul is usually in the low to mid 400,000s, which is higher than Wentzville and definitely higher than O'Fallon, just because there are fewer sales happening. It's not a fast-paced market as much as Wentzville, but these are, you know, higher priced homes, like beautiful homes on custom lots, these country homes. A lot of them newer built. There is some new construction in this area, but there's also these people who will buy these lots and just buy the land to go custom with building their house out here in St. Paul. And if you're looking at anything with new construction, we've got a couple of our clients who are moving out to this area for new construction. Riverdale by Fisher is a pretty decent sized subdivision towards the north of St. Paul. Brand new, you know, all of these new homes being built right now. A lot of finishes you can pick from, lots of outdoor space. It is a beautiful neighborhood. You've also got Tocktrup Farms by Lombardo. Technically, it's in Josephville, so it's right next door. It's not in St. Paul. But if you want a house with a bigger piece of land, that bigger lot, like I think they're a minimum of 3 acres over at Tocktrup Farms. Beautiful homes by Lombardo. Again, you will definitely see some new development out here and these new custom homes in an area like St. Paul, Josephville, Flint Hill. Those 3 areas are pretty similar. I mean, yeah, Madison, Tracy, and myself, recently we've had a few people looking at some new homes. Enclave at Brookside, it is in O'Fallon, up north, right next to Josephville and St. Paul. And I think we had a few people looking out towards Wentzville and Josephville with these new homes. Again, like it is a lot of new construction you'll see in some parts. And then you will just see a lot of these bigger pieces of land being sold, agricultural use, farmland, like all sorts of stuff that goes with that country kind of lifestyle. You'll definitely find that in St. Paul. And I mean, honestly, you know, the thing is, it definitely has a rural feel, but you're not like removed from everything that is close by. So you can live in St. Paul and definitely have that rural country charm. But if you want to go shopping in Wentzville or somewhere around Lake St. Louis, those are going to have like the biggest strip malls and shopping centers around you. I mean, you're going to be like maybe 20 minutes away from those if you live in St. Paul. So it's not like you're going to be an hour away from anything fun to do. There definitely is shopping and all sorts of stuff nearby in Wentzville and Lake St. Louis. St. Paul kind of has this like small little town center similar to Josephville. Like there's not a ton going on directly in the town. It very much feels like just country rural charm, but around the area you will see a lot more going on in the bigger suburbs like I mentioned. So I mean, there really are a lot of these beautiful homes. Again, like the custom big piece of land, big, you know, private backyard, these very nice looking farmhouses. I don't mean that whole new modern farmhouse. I mean like actual like farmhouses, like you got cows in the backyard and a private stocked lake if you want. Like you will see some of these beautiful places out in St. Paul. So if that's the kind of style you're going for, you're definitely on the right track with St. Paul. Like this is the part of town you will find that and still be pretty close to St. Louis. Like you're not going to be a crazy hour and a half, 2 hours outside the city. There is still a lot of stuff within like an hour drive of St. Paul. So hey, if you're moving to St. Paul or you're looking at other areas around St. Paul, like I said, if you want some help with that process, just send us a quick email or just shoot us a text message. We absolutely love hearing from the YouTube viewers. So if we can help you out at all, let's get in touch, let's get to work, and let's get you here to St. Louis. So thanks for watching. I appreciate that. Hope you take care. Have a great day, and I will see you in the next video right here on the Living St. Louis channel.